Here we go. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Gridiron Crew podcast, an NFL podcast made in Scotland by NFL lovers. You are listening to and watching the Draft Crew because it has finally happened. I am your host, Brian, the conscience of Cleveland Donlan, and tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as I say, it is draft night, day, night, morning. This counts
Whatever it is for
anyway.
you guys.
It's something, yeah. Stuff time difference. Screw it. We are, of course, tonight talking all things drafty, but fear not, we will still hit on some of the big news items of the week, and we will have, as always, time for our statistic of the week. Now, remember, if you are enjoying what you are listening to and hearing, folks, like, subscribe, follow the crew on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all your other socials. As always, I am joined by our panel of. I'm going to be brave and say draft day experts.
We'll see.
So tonight I have got with me Stu, who really at this stage should just be hired by PFF. So guys, if you're hiring, I only charge a very modest finder's fee. He's more excited about the draft than the Panthers fan base, which is saying something. So Stu, welcome, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm kind of dying of the cold today, which is not great. Caught that from Morven, as children are little germ factories, and that's what they do. But trucking on, getting on with life, and no amount of illness could keep me away from the draft that's happening tonight. Because this is NFL Christmas, boys. This is where hope springs, anew for all the franchises. Even the Browns who are picking. Where's your first pick, Brian?
Well, 74. We'll
74.
come to that.
So are you staying up tonight? Because you know that's not happening tonight.
No. I'll catch up with that one tomorrow. Yeah. NFL Christmas.
I could still potentially be ahead of us the way we fucking act.
Well, that's true, actually. Now, that second voice you hear there, ladies and gentlemen, the new boy is back. He is the link in the chain that is here to advise the Cowboys on how to spend yet another top draft pick on a running back, because we knew that worked really well last time. Dan, how are you doing, Chief?
Yeah, good. Glad to be back. Like my wee guest appearance last week, so he's only going to do me that easy. I'm glad to be back, and it's draft day. It's exciting. What do you say? It's the half time of the year we start getting ready to get used to the time differences. We ease ourselves in the draft day.
Absolutely, this is great. It's like that the cycle of being a sports fan. Of we are now at the point of, for everybody in a day or so, absolute peak optimism. The Super Bowl has never been going to more stadiums than it's going to go over the next weekend, and then we just get to begin the devastating cycle of despair and misery. Sorry, that's just the Browns fans. I'm forgetting we've got teams in the chat that actually have a chance at winning Super Bowls. But yes, so it is NFL Christmas. I like that stuff. That's a good one for this NFL Christmas. Right, okay, folks. Well, it is time, as always, to kick things off with our kick-off question of the week. And we're kind of stealing for the news segment here a wee bit as well, if I'm being dead honest with you. I know it's
nothing wrong with some thievery. Yep,
it's some mild thievery. Rumours abound. D-Hop, where will he go? It wouldn't be draft day without some trade speculation, to be fair. So D-Hop, I don't think it's a big shocker to anybody that D-Hop wants out of his current predicament.
Mexico.
He's playing Mexico. Yeah, he's not up for the air miles. So he is looking to get out, and rumours abound on where is he going to land. Big ones that seem to be doing the rounds at the minute. A lot of work seems to be going in, as me and Stu grimace, from the Ravens. Seem to be very keen on landing D-Hop, but we have got more and more characters seem to be coming out of the woodwork. We have been hearing about the Bills. We have been hearing about the Chiefs. Now, to be fair, the rumour about the Chiefs came from Studs, the Chiefs fan.
Yeah, so, I know that one I'm taking with tiny grain of salt.
Now, I will say Studs may be joining us this evening, ladies and gentlemen. And if he does, I will give him a chance to justify himself. But rumours abound. He might, who knows, the XFL, why not? US Football League, CFL. D Hop
Well,
to the CFL.
The CFL draft's coming next week as well, so like I'm basically draft heaven right now.
I don't know that D Hop would go into the draft. To be fair,
No, good point. I mean, maybe just hey, Tom Brady said in the past he would love to win the CFL, so I'm just going to put it out there that I could see Tom Brady maybe coming out of retirement to play for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
I'm imagining Brady winning the CFL, the XFL, the USFL. He comes over, he plays a year in Britball, and he signs for St Mirren, wins the SPL at like 64 somehow.
I think Brady gets a bit of a rough ride at home as it is. Never mind coming back from Spain.
Well, aye. I mean, listen, I'm sure Gronk is very gentle. So with that all said, D Hop has said, and to be fair, he said that he's at a point in his career where he's made his money, he's made his bag, he's not really interested in the cash, he's not looking for the big payday, he wants jewellery, he wants a ring. So, gentlemen, the question for us tonight, where does he land that gives him the best chance of getting a ring? Dan, I'll kick this one over to yourself first, mate. What do you think? Now, it doesn't need to be one of the teams being rumoured, it could be anybody. Where do you think D Hop lands to get the best chance of a ring?
Well, if he's wanting to win a ring, he needs to come to the Cowboys then, doesn't he?
Wait, right, listen, I'm going to start tweeting out "We Dem Boys" every time you speak.
Yeah.
Before we got Crooks, he was mentioned, but obviously we went and got Brandon Cooks now, so that kind of puts that to bed. But
solid acquisition, I will say.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Look, the three teams that we've mentioned seem to be the three that are really in the running from. I've not really seen anybody else mentioned. If I'm him and I'm looking at up and coming teams that have been playing well, quarterbacks, I'm picking the Bills. I think Josh Allen. I mean, obviously Mahomes is Mahomes. We don't know the Lamar Jackson situation. Obviously, they've taken Beckham. But if I'm him, I'm looking at a team that's solid. You know what you're going to get. Talent that's coming up, young talent. I'm going to go Bills.
Okay, we've got Bills. We got one. Stu, what about yourself, mate? Where are you picking? Where will D Hop land to add to that jewellery box?
I mean, out of those rumoured teams, I was also leaning Bills, but I'm not going to go Bills because that would be boring, and we hate boring on this show. So I'm going to say I think D Hop should go to the Cincinnati Bengals. No, I'm kidding. I won't do that to him.
Chase, Higgins, Boyd, D Hop, wide receiver 4.
We're not bothering. I know it's like we've got no interest in like having tight ends. Well, we signed Irv Smith and he's pretty good. We've got no interest in like tight ends or running backs. We're just going to play D Hop there. No, in all seriousness, I'm going to jump away from the AFC as well, and I'm going to just try and randomly pick someone from the NFC that isn't the Cowboys, because that probably would be a good landing spot if they didn't have Cooks. I'm going to say, where do I put them? The Niners. I think let's put them with the Niners.
Ooh, you know.
See who he's got at quarterback, because I've also heard some rumours about the Niners have been talking to Lamar and Lamar's people, so... Maybe let's put D Hop with the Niners, and then that's a good shout at winning a Super Bowl.
D Hop with the Niners, that would be an interesting one, because as the conventional wisdom of the league always says, if your backup quarterback has to play more than 4 games, you are stuffed. Your season is over. It was, thank you for playing and good luck next year.
Yeah,
the Niners are the one exception to that rule. It doesn't seem to matter.
So, you want, if you're D Hop and you want those chances at winning, then
anyway, we
whether
know
it's Brock,
how weak
whether
the
it's
NFC is. Yeah. Right. Okay. It's going to come back to me. I am going to be the Browns. No. Imagine. Jesus. No. I am going to be bold. I'm with Dan. I think the Bills. I think he wants a ring. It's the Bills. Imagine that offense. You've got Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen had a subpar year for him last year, and he was still incredible. You've got Stephon Diggs, who is one of the best wide receivers in the game. You put up D Hop on the other side. Who do you put your cornerback one on? Who do you double cover? You can't double cover them both.
And then Gabe Davis is there
then
as well.
You've got Gabe Davis sitting in the midst. If you do double cover them both, you've got Gabe Davis as well, who...
He's off to the races.
He's gone. He's straight over the middle, and you are stuffed. The running back game...
Not even counting the tight end either, then.
No, you've got Knox as well, who's such a big-bodied threat. Okay, we can sit and we can whinge about the fact that the running back game at the Bills maybe isn't the most dynamic, but it doesn't need to be. You've got Josh Allen. The man's 18,000 foot tall and weighs 84 stone somehow, and still runs like a gazelle. I'm gonna pitch on with Dan. I'm gonna join Team Bills. I'm gonna say that's where he winds up, that's where he winds up if he wants to win. Only thing that I would say goes against that, and it's why I quite like yours, Stu, actually, is the AFC is stupidly competitive.
Yeah.
You want to go somewhere being a pure mercenary looking for a ring, you go to one of the 2-3 teams in the NFC that are realistic competitors. You know what I mean? There really aren't many. The Eagles, that would be a hell of a landing spot, actually, if he really just wants a ring.
I discounted them just because their wide receiver room is fairly. I know, obviously, the Niners have Ayuk and things like that too, but like I did hear
not for long, apparently.
Exactly. That's why I was saying that was part of my reasoning with D-Hop and landing there was maybe Ayuk's gone. But the Eagles I counted out because I thought, you know what, they've kind of got a full WR room right now, so there's no room at the end.
I know that you threw the 49ers name in, but the Cardinals going to want to deal with the 49ers.
Good question.
I don't think they really have a choice about who they're dealing with.
That's a fair point. But if they've got other teams available, go elsewhere before they go to the 49ers.
Yeah. I mean, from the Niners side, not to get into the weeds with this too much, but from the Niners side as well, the other part of my reckoning was with all the they don't have like a first or a second round pick this year, but because of all the compensation with the coaches and things moving out, they have a crap ton of third and fourths and fifths or whatever. So they have kind of a lot of stuff. Because D-Hop, looking at D-Hop, what do you think you're going to get for him package wise? Like, he is very good, but he's been injured and he's had the PED thing. So
the thing as well, but with the
how
cards,
much is he worth now?
The thing with the cards, they want bulk picks. You know what I mean? They are full tire fire. You know what I mean? Everything is for sale. Have what you want. We are blowing this up and moving to Mexico. So they want that big package of lots and lots of 3s and 4s to build depth because they don't have it anywhere.
The Cooks trade kind of knocked his value a bit.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, definitely. Oh, right, it's going to be interesting, but as with so many things that we're seeing this year, the off-season isn't being a letdown in terms of intrigue of what trades we're getting and where people are going to go. Now, on the notion of the off-season not being a letdown, it's finally happened!
I know he's moved!
The jet has landed! He has finally signed in New York. Definitely New York. Sorry, I nearly turned into a Pats fan for a minute there. So it has finally happened. Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. It's official. He's signed for the year. He's signed for as long as he's signed for. Whether or not it's a year remains to be seen. So our big questions on this one, gents. What does this mean for the AFC East? What does it mean for the AFC in general? As we've said before, the division's stacked, particularly at the quarterback position. Are the Jets playoff bound, Super Bowl bound? And then I suppose the next question we really need to think about is what does this mean for Green Bay? Who wins? Who won this trade? And what do Green Bay need for this to actually be a win for them? Because I think at the minute, see what you gentlemen think, consensus seems to say the Jets have won this at a bit of a canter. Stu, what do you think, mate?
I don't know if we can go down the route of saying who's won the trade. Yeah, I know everybody likes their hot takes, but I'm always very much a person who goes, we're going to need to look back at this trade in 5 years' time. So I'm going to take the totally boring route with it and say, like, well, what are
5 years?
5 years for now. We'll see what Green Bay do with her.
I'll give you 18 months.
Okay, 3 years' time we'll know because we'll see what Green Bay do with their picks that they got for them. Green Bay's big win is they have dumped all that money off their cap. So that's the big win for them. And they got stuff back for it. And to be honest, a few more picks or like a slightly higher pick package than I suspected they were going to get. For the Jets, they obviously have their final piece or their supposed final piece. We'll see if it is or not. They've got that guy, though, a two-time MVP, or in the last 3 years. Yeah, 2 times in the last 3 years. Yeah, he never won last year. Super Bowl winner before, guy that's a pro. I guess. Acts like a pro sometimes.
You know what? I'm gonna be controversial on this one. Have you seen the presser? Have you watched his presser?
Yes.
He actually he comes out, to be fair, for somebody that can be as darkness retreat and all the rest of it. He comes on that as exceptionally well polished. Knew how to deal with the media really, really well. You couldn't help, but he actually comes across as really personable as well. So he really does. So they do have a pro in the room.
So I mean, that's the thing for me is like I wonder if maybe he has been, if he's reinvigorated and he's interested again and he wants to go for it and he's got his team and Lazard's there and he actually has a defense after the much vaunted Green Bay Packers defense. I kept waiting on them showing up all last year because they were apparently going to win the Super Bowl off the back of that defense last season, but it never ever showed up. To me, the Jets win this trade if they win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years. If it goes beyond that, I think Aaron Rodgers is starting to push it age-wise, and he's going to fall off too much. So basically, the Jets have said our window's now, we have to go for it, and I can't blame them because why not? Everything's aligned. They have the defense, they have the offense. They just needed a quarterback.
I hate to do it to you, Stu, but I'm gonna need to interrupt you because there is live breaking news, gentlemen. Lamar has signed. Lamar has signed a long-term extension. This has just come out, literally coming out right now. Rap Sheet has put it out 5 minutes ago. Details on it, don't have them at the minute. From what I am getting on the rumour mill, and it is the rumour mill, this is going to bust Hurts' contract, which, to be fair, don't think anybody will be shocked by that one. But yes, we have got that, and we also have rumours that D-Hop and pick number 34 to the Ravens for their pick number 22. Now, I don't know if there'll be anything else in there as well.
Well, I was going to say, that ruins my D-Hop to the Niners chat.
Yeah. Ravens are locking it.
If D-Hop wants to play with Lamar, he's not going to go to the Niners.
The Ravens are locking that offense down. So, yeah, they've added D-Hop. They have got Lamar signed up in that long-term deal. So, we'll wait and see if I'm right in that he was just holding out a little bit towards the end of last year. He wasn't actually hurt. So, yeah, big breaking news. Dan, what do you make of that one, mate? We've obviously got the whole situation with Rodgers and him finally signing that up. And we've got another AFC elite, dare I say it, quarterback signed up long term.
So I'll go back to the Rodgers stuff first. I think watching him when he was asked the question about, are you here for a year, are you here for longer, he started saying, oh, no, see how my body goes, how that sort of stuff goes. Mm-hmm. Saying that off the bat kind of makes you feel a bit, how much is he, how long has he got left in the tank here? You say they are going for it and they need to go for it. But in that division, it'll always depend, I think, on the Dolphins and what they do.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Bills are the Bills, yeah.
The Bills will win the division. The Dolphins, you never know. The Patriots, you can never write them off. But again, nobody wanted the draft might be big for them. They might see where they go. But
an obscure lineman.
Hold on a minute here. No, Bill's going to do what he always does, and he's going to end up taking some Div 4 linebacker or whatever, or something that nobody's ever heard of, and it'll be like, here's this guy, first round pick. I liked his name.
I think it's going to be between the Jets and the Dolphins for that number 2 in the division. Whether that gets them into the playoffs, we'll just have to wait and see.
Do you know, I'm going to come into this. I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to say I do love the Bills. I really enjoy watching the Bills play. Actually, I don't know that we can guarantee that the East is theirs off the rip. Rodgers is only 1 year removed from, he didn't have a great year last year. Last year was subpar for Rodgers. He put up good numbers, but for him it was a subpar year. Year before that he was an MVP.
And a year before
Rodgers lands in the Rodgers lands at the Jets, puts up even not necessarily an MVP year, an MVP-ish season. With the weapons that the Jets have, they get a little bit of a rub of the green in terms of injuries. I could see the Jets taking that. I could see the Jets taking the East. I'm Team Jets this year.
Hands. I just think the Bills will still edge it, but I think they'll have a good season. What that leads to depends on what happens around about them, I believe.
Yeah. So what do we think? So in terms of winning and losing this trade, what do one line answers? What do the Jets need to win this trade? What is the thing that means the Jets can look back on this, even if Rodgers only plays a year, 2 years? What
A
means they
Super Bowl.
won?
A
That
Super
big?
Bowl.
Got to be the bowl. Got to be a ring.
Has to be. That's why they've done it.
Would an appearance win?
You know what? Okay, yeah, I'll give them that. An appearance would win because as a Bengals fan, we have a bunch of appearances but no wins. So we're going to click. A pennant's a pennant. Like if you win the AFC Championship, that's a big bloody deal. So yeah, AFC Championship.
Yeah,
Maybe a couple of AFC Championship appearances.
Okay. Championship.
Obviously, if you're looking at them, you think, what have they done recently? Anything more positive than what they've done is a win.
Aye.
They've not been in the playoffs for 12 years. Do you know what I mean? So what's their measure? I know they want to win a Super Bowl, and that'll be what they're aiming. But what is their realistic expectations for them? And year one, and expecting to go from 0 to the Super Bowl? I don't know. That would obviously be a win. I think anything beyond the first round of the playoffs would be a good result for them.
Anything beyond wildcard round?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be even after I called Stu out. I'm going to say they need to make the Super Bowl minimum.
Yeah, I don't think they have to win. I'll ramp it back a bit and say they don't have to win it, but they have to appear at least once in the next couple of years.
Yeah, right. Flip it in its head then. What about the forgotten sibling, the forgotten child of this whole trade, Green Bay, and Jordan McLovin, which I'm trying to will that into nickname presence. What makes that? Or do you know what? Right, just to remind everybody listening. So the actual package that Green Bay got for Rodgers. So they swapped first this year. They picked what was it? An extra fifth this year as well. Or no, a second this year as well, and they lost a fifth. They sent a fifth, and they got a second this year, and then they've got a conditional second next year, which
can turn into a first.
It's very likely to turn into a first. If Rodgers doesn't get hurt, it's a first. You know, he has to play 65%.
Yeah, 65. Yeah.
And I think that works out at 10 or so games, 10 or 11 games, something like that. So it's quite likely that that's going to turn into their first next year. What makes this? How do Green Bay walk out of this and go, do you know what, we won? Now, we know that they'll be happy with the cap situation. We know that, if we're really honest, was probably one of their big objectives here. Dan, what do you think, mate? What means Green Bay win this trade?
I don't think they ever do.
Oh! Yes!
That's the cowboy fan that we wanted. They Green Bay.
Right.
Yes, got it.
And that is why the Chiefs will never win the Super Bowl again.
Listen,
ladies,
I've been listening to that's not going to fly. I've been listening to that.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear, the heartthrob from Hamilton has joined us, the big chief himself, Studs. First, welcome, mate. Glad to have you on. You've missed the joy of us besmirching your good name for your recklessly trying to throw your D-Hop to the Chiefs rumours about, and then we find out that it was clearly just one from Fan Corner, as he is signed to the evil dark Baltimore Clouds.
Listen, if he never wants to see an AFC Championship, then go to Baltimore. Let's be honest. When was the last time they were actually in a championship game? Joe Flacco. Do you know what I mean? And they've got the Bengals to contend with in there. Joe Burrow's not going to lose that division for years to come. Right. When you've got a semi-decent quarterback, you've got a quarterback that doesn't have questionable morals, then we'll talk, right? But he's not going to win that division for years. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to get near an AFC Championship game. So for me, I think it's a strange decision. D-Hop to the Bills even would have made sense for me. Mm-hmm. I think he's got a better chance going there, but nah, I don't. You tell me that D-Hop and OBJ are a winning wide receiver duo? I don't see it.
Aye, 3 years ago they were.
In their prime, maybe. But when OBJ had 2 functional knees.
I will throw something out here that is just like a slight little bit of worry, kind of, little grain of doubt in the back of my brain. Do you remember a few years ago when Tom Brady moved to the Buccaneers?
And he was washed. He was done.
Well,
That was a retirement home.
Not just Tom Brady, but the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers then set about building a team to win the Super Bowl in 2012 or 2013, or whatever it was. We all laughed about it. We all joked. And then what did they do?
Yeah.
They won the Super Bowl that year.
Listen,
so I'm not saying but it's just an elephant never forgets and all that. I'm like,
Lamar Jackson is not Tom Brady, first and foremost.
I know it. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. He's way faster. He can escape pressure. But listen, it's why we love the game. Any given Sunday. You don't know. Now, I say, Studs, welcome to the show, mate. Tell you what, we'll bring you straight in. We are discussing how do Green Bay win the Aaron Rodgers trade? What has to happen for Green Bay to walk away from this in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, and look back on that and say, do you know what? We actually did okay there. What do you think, mate?
For me, they've got to get some weapons in there for Jordan Love.
A first round wide receiver.
Absolutely. But I think they're firmly putting their eggs in the Jordan Love basket, and I was kind of seen them play against the Chiefs 2 years ago, and I'll be honest, they didn't look great. The Chiefs were poor that night, but we didn't have to do anything because Jordan Love wasn't doing anything. So for me, they've got to be willing to do probably what they weren't willing to do with Aaron Rodgers. They need to give him some weapons to play with. Aaron Rodgers, they knew, right, we don't need to give him weapons, he can produce without them, essentially. They just knew that Aaron Rodgers was a big-time player. He could get the job done without having elite weapons, and they proved it time after time with them. So for me, I think they need to really back Jordan Love and give him the weapons to support him.
So would you say that this is a case where you've got a big transition where Aaron Rodgers was the tide that rose all ships around him, and he elevated his supporting cast, whereas Jordan Love is going to need that supporting cast to elevate him?
Absolutely. I mean, right, albeit Rodgers had Adams for a good portion of his Green Bay career, but when you look at after Adams, right, Alan Lazard became relevant and suddenly get paid this year. Bobby Tunyon was relevant for a couple of seasons ago. Do you know what I mean? So he does have a knack. I mean, Mercedes Lewis was still catching touchdowns this year for him as well, and has done for, I think he's like the oldest tight end in the league at this stage.
Cobb back as well. Is he joining the Jets?
Cobb.
It possibly is, actually, aye.
Randall, yeah. What about the young guy as well? Why have I forgot his name right now? Keith's favourite. Christian Watson. Yeah, like he was fantastic last year. So he's there. So Jordan Love at least has been working with him. So I mean, that's a guy that maybe he has some chemistry with.
Was another one they had high hopes for last year. So he has got a couple
Dibbs could be good. Yeah.
But he still needs more. So he'll need. I think Tunyon's away. So I think they need that. They need a tight end. So it wouldn't surprise me if they take one of the pass catching tight ends to give Jordan Love that security blanket.
Good thing that there's a bunch of good tight ends in the draft this year, eh?
You see my seamless link in there, Stu? You see it coming?
Yeah, I seen it coming. That's a good segue if we want to head that way, Brian, towards the draft.
Well, we are going to go into the draft.
Actually.
We've got one final bit of Lamar information. Is it looks like Lamar is walking away with 255 over 5 years.
Fully guaranteed?
But only 10 million fully guaranteed.
No. 10 million guaranteed.
No, I don't know about guarantees yet. We'll be very, very interested to see that, because that has been the narrative of this whole pantomime around Lamar and the contract, that he wanted money to be. I say pantomime. To be fair, when you play the way Lamar plays, you want money guaranteed. He is going to be looking at that. He's going to be looking for that. Now, we are going to move on, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to move into the draft, because it is draft day. So, the plan, folks, we were contemplating going through the full first round, but then we remembered that Stu was on the pod and he would actually be here till the draft finished if we let him do the full first round. So, we are going to restrain ourselves. We are going to go through the top 10. We are going to have a look around the teams that are picking in the top 10. We will look at what we think they will do or should do, and those two things are not necessarily ever going to be the same. There ain't going to be any answers here. I think some of the picks will be more obvious than others. We'll probably make them faster than some of the teams. I'm looking at you, Carolina, and I'm just waiting for them to take 9 minutes to make a pick that they'll have chosen for a month and a half. So with that said,
Oh, we need to make the pick.
oh my god! I'd love it if somehow Carolina default the first. they forget
That'd be
to
great.
put the bit of paper in.
It's just like celebrating loudly. We did it. We did it.
We
CJ's
did
loud. Oh wait, no. That's what
That's
why we're going to take
second. His phone, the Panthers right before, and make sure the phone's engaged for the whole 10 minutes.
That's it. It's like the 90s. Somebody's going to send in an agent to just leave their phone off the hook in another room. Connect an old router. Right. Okay. So, with the first overall pick of the NFL 2023 draft, the Carolina Panthers are on the clock, and they are going to pick Stu.
I'm going to have them pick Bryce Young. I think it goes without saying. I'm going to be completely boring, and that's who's getting picked first overall.
Anybody disagree? Does anybody think we're going to get a shocker with the first overall pick? The silence is deafening.
If they were going to go another QB, then for me, I think they go Richardson. I think there's too many similarities from what they had with Cam Newton. So if it was going to be a surprise first round pick, then I would say Richardson. But I think NFL ready, I think you're looking at Bryce Young, and that's what they need. They need an NFL ready QB.
Yep. Agreed. Dan, yourself, you with us, mate? Are you going to be difficult?
No, not this time.
Keep it rolling. I like it.
Keep it rolling. Okay, so we did that.
I'll maybe start getting difficult ones with a couple of picks. I'm the ideas.
Oh, quite right. Well, we did that.
Cowboys traded up to number 4 to take Jalen Carter up on.
No, they're going to trade up to 4. I'm going to trade up to 3 for Bijan.
Do you know, I had a dream last night that in my fever dream, like obviously with the cold and all that I've got now, that the Bengals ended up somehow getting Will Anderson. And I don't know how he fell all the way to 28, and I was just like,
everybody engaged.
Stu's currently driving his way around the US with a pair of cable cutters. He's just getting the lopers out, taking down phone lines everywhere. Right, okay. So yeah, we made that pick quicker than the Panthers are going to be on it. Everybody knows they're exceptionally likely to go Bryce Young. I think much other than that is going to be a big shocker for everybody. So he is off the board, gentlemen. With the second pick, how they round up here, no one knows. Of the 2023 draft, we have got the Houston Texans on the clock. Dan, what do you think, mate? Where are they going with this one?
I think this one could be quite interesting. I think there is an obvious choice who I'll mention in a second, but I think they've got a few needs, and it's whether they want to pull the trigger on a quarterback that early. I don't think they will. I think they'll go Will Anderson. I think that's the obvious pick, and I think they will go there. But I think it'd be interesting to see what they decide, because they've got what they got. Is it 12 they've got as well?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they'll go Anderson, but it could be a wee bit of a curveball in there. But I think Anderson's the obvious.
Yeah, I'm going to be a supreme bore and say, sadly, I think that is exactly what's going to happen as well. Would anybody see something different happening? It seems to be the consensus choice, but the Texans are about as on fire as you get.
Yeah, I have them taking Anderson as well. That's who I kind of put down in my wee bit of paper here. But if the only thing I could see them doing there, if they want Anderson and say someone else really fancies a quarterback, maybe they trade back with the Colts or whoever kind of thing and drop back a couple of spots and know that they're still going to get Anderson or Carter, whichever one they want. And then, they maybe get some more capital later on, because Texans love a pick.
So
I think they take Anderson. I think
right. So here's one for you then, Studs. Right, let's put Stu's one to you. The Texans trade back to the Colts. Colts step in at 2. and let's say they're gonna pick a quarterback. It looks fairly likely that they left a quarterback. So let's say, well, tell you what, you have this one. Let's imagine the Colts in our top 10 draft are picking at 2. Who are they taking?
CJ Stroud.
Stroud. Okay. So, gentlemen, Stroud is gone.
Because I've got a feeling that that's going to be different from what the other guys think. Because I think the consensus just now is Will Levis. So again, just to be slightly different.
Will Levis, the man who, Stu, you must love Will Levis. He eats bananas whole. For all of the listeners, what the key piece of information that you don't have here is that Stu is actually afraid of bananas.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of them. I just don't like them intensely.
Folk, I've seen him scream and run. So
fair enough. There's something about that shape.
The size of the banana, surely.
The smell.
Lockdown was really hard for us to see all that banana bread doing the rounds. That was a hard time. Right, so there you go. Okay, kick over to you two, gents. So let's go. Stu, your trade has happened. The Colts have moved up to second. Studs is saying that they're going to lift Stroud. Who do you think they're going to lift? Do you agree, or do you see them going for Levis, or do you see Richardson, perhaps?
Richardson.
I had the Colts. Sorry, on you go, Stu. On you go.
Oh, I was going to say I had Richardson.
Yeah, I had Richardson. I didn't have him trading up.
Richardson.
I've completely derailed this entire thing by mentioning this trade up. I don't actually think it would happen, but like that was where I had.
That trade throws my board out the window.
Excellent. Chaos reigns.
I've ruined my own board. That's the thing. So
trade didn't happen, right? Texans took Will Anderson, and that's where we're.
Okay, let's go back.
Let's bring this back around, because this is where I was going to go with this, gentlemen. We will reset the board in a minute, but let's say that did happen.
Yep.
And the Texans are obviously making that trade with the idea that at 4 they're still going to get Will Anderson.
Yeah.
Do the Cardinals knacker that? Cardinals are in at 3.
They wanted because
the Cardinals have more needs than anybody.
The Cardinals
everything.
Yeah. I think the Cardinals back.
Really?
I don't think the Cardinals pick at 3 at all.
Aye.
I agree. I think
regardless of whatever happens in front of them, I don't think they pick at 3. I've got them trading the Titans.
So
Titans
go for Levis.
I think if the Texans take Anderson at 2, I think the Titans go in and take CJ Stroud at 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So I understand the logic to that, but I tell you what I would see happening there. I would see the Cardinals trading back as well, but with the Eagles. I would see the Eagles coming in and they would take Anderson because they love that boy and they want him bad. And I think that would put him into the range that they'd be willing to spend for them. But Stu has knackered this trade no more, and I am doing my Doctor Who bit in resetting the timeline.
Okay,
so Will Anderson has went as second overall to the Texans. The Cardinals do we think the Cardinals trade back? Is that a consensus? Jesus, do we all agree on something?
I think they should trade back. If I was them, I would. Like I know they just picked up because what did they get for D-Hop? Because they've just taken a.
So for D-Hop,
they got 22nd, didn't they?
Sounds like they are 22nd overall. Now this, as I say, is the information. This comes from Jack Settleman. So it's D-Hop and the 34th overall pick for the Ravens, 22nd.
Okay, so they've already got the 22nd. Yeah, I could see them trading back and taking another. Trying to get another set. Basically, get a second to replace the 34th that they've kicked it. Yeah.
Okay, so do we think that they would trade back with? So I'm going to. You three plebs seem to all think the Titans are going to trade into that spot. Do we all think Titans make sense?
Titans makes more sense.
Okay, then who do we see the Titans lifting?
The Titans are picking at 11, so that would give Arizona 11, which is a good spot for them.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. So we're this one I'm keeping. This is the trade that stays, gentlemen. The Titans have traded with the Cardinals. The Titans are now on the clock at 3 overall. Will Anderson is off the clock. Bryce Young, shock horror, is off the clock. Who are they taking? What do we think? Dan, on you go, mate. CJ Stroud. Yeah. Studs, do we have a trifecta? Oh, look at him. He's thinking being difficult.
If the Titans trade up, then I do think they go Stroud as well. But as I say, aye. We'll be all right about
He's
it.
no happy. He's no happy.
Yeah, we've outvoted you. CJ Stroud just went to the
CJ
Titans.
Stroud is a Titan, and we can all watch his promising career disappear as fast as his test scores. To be fair, they'll be able to pay CJ Stroud very little because we know he's no good at maths. Right, so move.
His answer on that, by the way, his answer was actually class.
Right, so moving on, we are now at 4th overall. The Colts are up. They have a few needs. The Colts are an organisation that I like, but they have had some pretty poor fortune. I think is maybe the fairest way to assess the Colts last couple of years, particularly with Andrew Luck. You know, we all know the story. It was a sad thing that we all had to kind of watch unfold. Who do we think they go for 4th overall? Stu, kick us off, mate. Where are the Colts, or who are the Colts picking?
I'm going to be boring and say what I said earlier when they traded up. Richardson. I
Richardson.
think they take him. He sits behind Minshew for a year or two and then kind of works on his accuracy a bit, learns from the best in the business, Mr. Gardner. Mr. Gardner Minshew, and then eventually is one of the better quarterbacks to come out of this class.
Right, okay. So that's an interesting one because obviously we are sat looking at this and we've got 3 quarterbacks off the board in the first 4 picks, which is a hell of a thing. Quarterback, most important position of the game. Nobody argues with that, but particularly for a class that is getting some heat at the minute, in terms of how prepared these guys are to take the next step. Studs, what do you think, mate? Do you agree? Do you see the Colts going for QB at 4?
I think it makes sense. I think I think they're going to go Will Levis. Personally, I don't think they're going to go.
Yeah, I could see it, but
I think there's a lot of noise around about the Will Levis stuff. He seems to be probably one of. I think he boosted up to like the 2nd consensus QB overall with the bookmakers in Vegas as well. So there's definitely a lot of smoke around Levis, and he's got an absolute cannon for an arm, and he basically played with Dan and Stu as his wide receivers at Kentucky last year. It's not CJ Stroud where he had all these numbers. But that's the thing with Levis. He was still putting up good numbers even though he had shit receivers, whereas you look at Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, they've always got talent running about them, and consistently the wide receivers from these schools are going well in drafts. Yeah. So as I say, these guys have had weight as well. Levis hasn't. I think his decision making is something that's been brought into question, where he maybe make bad throws, but again, that could be down to youth. Can you teach that out of him? And by all accounts, he's an absolute unity of a guy, so you just don't want him running at you.
So it's for the bit of context for the listeners. Obviously, we have got CJ Stroud coming out of Ohio State, so we are talking top of the tree in terms of colleges, and we've got Bryce Young equally top of the tree coming out of Alabama, and then we've got the joy of Will Levis coming out of Kentucky, which is
not a bad program. Like
it's not.
Better known for its race policies than its quality.
It's not. It ain't Ohio State, and it ain't Alabama. So yeah, he is certainly coming off a less prestigious program. And right on the Will Levis one, before I kick it over to yourself, Dan, for your thoughts on this, have we all seen him chuck it for 50 yards from his knees? Which I'm not entirely sure where in the game that skill will be particularly relevant, but he can throw it from 50 yards where he's kneeling down. So,
or whether it'd be legal or not, because I'm pretty sure it would.
He's dead as soon as he gets on his knees.
Like, he can. That's the point. If there is, it's sort of like if in the Pro Bowl they bring back those really weird skill competitions, he's your man.
Maybe do one of those fake knees, and people think that he's just going to take a knee and run a clock out, and he will just launch it.
50-yard bomb. Right, what about you, Dan? We have got the Colts on the clock at 4. Are you giving us a quorum? Are you in agreement with them going for a QB, or do you think something strange will happen?
Richardson as well, and I think either way, whatever quarterback it goes, I think it'll be Richardson. Either way, with the new head coach there, I think they've got a good coach to work under as a quarterback. They've done wonders with Hurts at the Eagles, so I think that's a good fit for either of the quarterbacks. I just think in the modern kind of game, the way a lot of quarterbacks, I think Richardson's probably a better choice.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to give us balance to the force as there should be in all things. I'm going to side with Studs. I see that. I agree with the quarterback. I think they're going to go QB, but I see Levis. They sound like they've done a
That's
lot
fair,
of legwork with Levis. He seems, I don't know, there seems to be some of the soft stuff. They seem to be keen on him, and I'm not entirely sure I agree with the pick. I don't think it's necessarily the best one they could make, but I that's how I see that one playing out as well. Okay, gents, we are halfway there. We are at 5 overall, and it is a pick that was traded. So it should be the Broncos, but they traded that pick away to the Seattle Seahawks. We ain't going to talk anymore about what was involved in that trade. Where do we see the Seahawks going with this one? Dan, kick us off, mate. Still a lot of talent on this board, by the way.
A lot, yeah.
We have taken some. Really, are they top 5 draft pick quarterbacks early? So there's a lot of talent on the board. Where do you see the Seahawks going, mate?
I think the Seahawks have got a few needs, and I think reading through a few different mock drafts, everybody seems kind of splitting whether they go cornerback to kind of get that back in. But I think they go with the obvious choice of Jalen Carter here.
Yeah, I was hoping that was going to happen.
I think Pete Carroll, I don't think I know he's got his issues, he's got the red flags, but I think Pete Carroll as a coach is someone that, well, he won't take any nonsense from him, and I think he's the best player on the board from at that point, and I think it'd be daft for him not to take him.
Okay, I'm gonna put my one out quick as well here, actually, because it's boring and I'm in complete agreement. And you know, actually, Dan, you've got my reason, which is a bit irritating if I'm honest, nailed down as well. I think Pete Carroll's the thing that does this here. I think if Jalen Carter winds up in somewhere like Arizona, I think that just goes on fire instantly. I think he needs a really solid coaching setup, and Pete Carroll is a lot of things. He is an exceptionally talented coach. He is so good with the players he's got at his disposal. Yeah, I think Jalen Carter can really do well under Pete Carroll, actually. Okay, Studs, are you with us or are you against us?
Listen, that's the safe pick. Let's be
here we go, folks.
Right. So I think, obviously, as Dan mentioned, consensus and this, that, and the next thing. See, for me, right, you've just paid your QB, who was a standout for them last year as a team. You've got a safe pair of hands. You've got somebody that your QB can sit there and learn behind, because by all accounts, the QB that I've got left is a very raw talent. And I think they're going to go Richardson.
What?
I think the Seahawks take Richardson. They can afford to sit him for a couple of years, get him to learn behind Geno. As I say, Jalen Carter's a safe pick. Stuff safe. I'm not here to be safe. Let's go Richardson in there for the Seahawks.
Right, so hang on a minute. You say that he's behind Geno. Do you say he's behind Geno just because like Richardson's 18 foot tall and that's not an obstacle for him? Okay, that's a bold one.
I mean, as much as that sounds like and very controversial, I think it is a possibility. Geno is Geno, right? We'll just put it like that.
You're safe.
They need a future franchise quarterback. So if Richardson's there, it's going to be a tough choice for them.
Well, that's the thing. Look at the Seahawks, right? So they're picking 5th because of a trade, right? Obviously, everybody thought they were going to be a higher fire last year, so they probably expected their own pick to be higher than the Broncos, probably. Mm-hmm. Now, at that point, then you're thinking, when's the next time, the Seahawks are going to be in the top 4 or 5 to pick someone at QB? I can't see it anytime soon.
And, well, there's your question, because at the end of the day, Richardson's raw, but he is 6'4", 244, runs a 4.43. Yeah, okay, he struggles to hit his receivers, and that's a part of that quarterback game I've heard of.
He's accurate on the deep ball. It's slots that it's the short ball that he seems to struggle with.
Yeah, he's the youngest quarterback.
Yeah, he is. He's only 20. He is only 20. So he's got if he had,
he's got 5
if
years
he'd said he was staying in and he declared next year, how would we, if he sorts the accuracy out? Okay, fair.
Here's a question. If Richardson goes to the Colts, as most of us predicted, do the Seahawks go for Levis? Or do they go Carter?
Nah. They go Carter for me. If Richardson's not, because I think, again, and it's looking at the kind of interactions that the Seahawks had with Richardson, there seemed to be a good bit of rapport there. When you're looking at obviously Pete Carroll getting involved in the selfies and stuff like that as well, there just seemed to be good wee bit of camaraderie there between the guys, and I think that's kind of what would do it. But again, the logic behind the Jalen Carter for me is you can't fault that logic. It seems sensible. He seems like a Seahawks kind of player. Obviously, you add in the fact that he's getting Bobby Wagner there to deal with him probably, but I would say Bobby Wagner more than Pete Carroll because
I forgot he was there. Yeah, it was a great point.
Yeah.
As I say, I'd probably be more scared of Bobby than I would Pete, to be fair. So, I think that side of it. But as I say, just to be slightly different and controversial, I'm saying Richardson for Seahawks.
Right, Stu, what about yourself, mate? Where are you coming in with the Seahawks? Where are they going? Are you going to side with one of us, or have you got your own unique take on this pick?
I think if Richardson's gone, I agree. I don't see them taking Levis there. Like, I think what they'd be more likely to do is wait because they have that second pick in the first round later on. So I had them maybe taking what's his head, Hooker.
Yeah,
later on, like kind of maybe taking him further back in the first round of the draft. I think they would probably go the board. If Richardson's gone, I think they'll go the boring route and take Carter, though. I'm going to agree with Dan on that.
3 against 1. Right, okay. We're going to kick it.
I do see if Richardson's there, though, yeah, I think the Seahawks would find it hard to pass.
Right, okay. We're going to pick up a pace, gents, and we are going to get cracking through the 6 through 10. So you get one pick and you get one justification, and that's your whack. The Lions are on the clock at 6, and I'll be honest, I've struggled with this one. Lions are on the clock at 6. Stu, I'm going to come back to you, mate. Who have you got the Lions taking off the board at 6?
I'm going to go with a fun pick for once. I think they're going to do something that I hate teams doing, which is going for a position that should never be drafted this high. In the draft.
No!
I know where you're going here. Same place as me.
Breaking the glass. I think they're going for Bijan. I think Robinson.
Yeah,
the running back
goes.
Even after they've paid David Montgomery.
Yeah,
I think so because you've got this. You've got the chance of having Montgomery and then a generational talent at running back, which he is actually bloody good, like for everything I've seen. So I'll take back the generational because he might be that. DeAndre Swift, I think they will trade. He's not worked out, whether that's through injuries or whatever else. He's looked good in spots, but he's not been quite what they wanted. Montgomery's a steady hand, and I think they go for Bijan because he's too much to resist.
Do the Lions have another pick in the first?
Lions, they are back on the clock with to try and find them. I'm actually on the 18th. They've got 18
there you go.
As well.
Yeah.
I think that's right. They'll get Bijan by the
right. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, tell you what, you're talking now, so you can keep talking, mate. Who do you see the Lions going with? Dan, you're going to get last word on the Lions, mate.
I think they go Tyree Wilson just to pair him up with Aiden Hutchinson and just absolutely
crush people
up that D line. Again, an edge rusher in there, pairing them with Aiden Hutchinson. It's just the quarterbacks are going to run for their life.
Right, okay, it's a bold one. Dan, well, no, do you know what? I'll give mine quickly because mine's quite straightforward. I think the biggest area I need to be fair for the Lions is actually in their secondary. So I am seeing them lifting Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois.
Yeah,
I think he's out of Illinois. Cornerback out of Illinois. Looks an absolute unit of a player. Dan, what about yourself, mate, to round us off with the Lions at 6?
What I'll do is I'll lead us off. I'll finish off 6 and lead into 7 because I think.
Oh, you go bold. I love it. Smooth.
So I have got them taking Devin Witherspoon as well.
Oh, love it.
But I think you could either go for him or Christian Gonzalez, and I think both of them go 6 and 7. I just think it depends on who. I think the Raiders take a cornerback as well. So if Lions take Witherspoon, Vegas takes Gonzalez, or flip, I think.
Yeah, I have Gonzalez above Witherspoon, so I actually would have had it the other way around. But I mean, splitting hairs, like.
Yeah, I think they both take cornerbacks. Just one takes one, the other one takes the other.
Okay, right. Okay, interesting. Stu, so would you agree with that then? That if who do you think the Raiders are taking at 7? Where do you think they're going?
I think they're either going cornerback or I guess Skoronski's still on the board.
Skoronski's still on the board.
I had him as the top O-line guy, so maybe they want to bulk up their O-line if they don't go with the cornerback option. But I think it's probably the two cornerbacks in a row.
Yeah, okay. Studs, what were you, mate? You good?
I hope they pick some stupid like a centre that's a third round.
That's a Pats move.
That's a Patriots move, mate. What are you talking about?
Well, the guy that used to do that's left now, hasn't he? So he's not
true.
there anymore. Was it McNeil? I think they go cornerback. I do agree with your guys' logic. As I say, as much as I'd love for them to do something that would just some stupid like grab Bijan Robinson in this position just to piss off Josh Jacobs. I
like that they say that when they're up at the podium as well, when they're welcoming him. Hello, Bijan, you are here purely because we hate Josh Jacobs.
So that would be funny, honestly. I would actually see the end to laughing in that one. But I think they go cornerback. If I probably say Gonzalez if I was pushing.
Okay, right. We have got 3 left to go. 8, 9, and 10. Stu, you are back on the clock. I have sadly moved you to Atlanta. Apologies. Who? I know. I'll be honest, guys. I need you to do the heavy lifting in this one because I have absolutely no idea what the Falcons are going to do. What are the Falcons doing?
I had them trading back.
This is kind of where I landed because I have no idea.
I have them trading back and getting out of there. And then partly because I also wasn't really sure what they needed. And I had Bijan already gone to Detroit because I thought they might take him because they need the rushing game as well. And it's way too early for Jamal Gibbs.
Algier. A 1,000-yard rusher last year, Algier.
I know you love him for fantasy, but no, I think if I'm going to say Atlanta are on the clock, we all agreed the cornerbacks went. So, yeah, I'm just going to go back to Skoronski. Skoronski to Atlanta.
I can't do that. That ruins my next pick. Studs, where are you at, mate? Where are you at with the Falcons?
There's a lot of rumours that it's going to be Bijan. To be honest. I don't know. I think he's difficult to pass on at this point if you're Atlanta. But again, I don't know if they do it because I think, as I say, Tyler Algier was over 1,000-yard rusher last year. Looked good when Patterson wasn't there for them when he was having the lead. Stuff. I'll throw Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback, to them.
You would take the cornerback keeps in there.
Cornerback.
Yeah. Solid pick. Dan, what about you, mate, to round us off with the mighty Falcons?
Again, I wasn't massive on with the Falcons. We just had a quick wee bit, and I think one of the main needs for them tend to be rusher, an edge rush. So I went for them going for either Terrell Wilson or Lucas Van Ness. I think I'll go Van Ness.
Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah, I like Van Ness.
I wish I'd remembered him and not just went, I'll just throw Skoronski in there. I ruined my own. I went off my own chart because I had Bijan going to Atlanta, and I just was like, screw it, I want to do something fun, so I threw him to Detroit. But
yeah, Van Ness for me.
Guys, I'm just enjoying that my original plan was that this was going to be like a draft, and once players were off the board, they were off the board, and that entire plan has went to
it's just, we're all just throwing whoever we want, wherever.
Okay, so it is time for this one. This one goes out specially for Grant. The Bears, Super Bowl champions-elect. Going to win every category on every offense, defense, and everything else chart. If Grant is to be believed, they are on the clock at 8. Where do you see them going? Now, this for me is where I see we shout out for Stu and his pick earlier. This is where I see Skoronski going. I see the Bears really trying to add best available O-lineman. Otherwise, Justin Fields is going to become paste. Because, what was it? Sacked something hilarious. Like, I can't remember how many total sacks he took last year, but it was all of them. So I see the Bears going for best available lineman. For me, Skoronski is the best available one on the board, so that's where I see him landing. Studs, what about yourself, mate? Where do you see the mighty Chicago Bears going in this draft?
Boring one for me. I'm piggybacking on the back here. I think they try and protect Justin Fields. Skoronski's the obvious consensus pick on that one for me. So let's protect Fields, and then you can utilise that rushing ability a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, what about you, mate?
I'm going same similar situation, but I've picked him going for Paris Johnson Jr. rather than
Yeah.
Skronsky, but flip a coin really. I think they're definitely taking that position. Just which one they take is
Yeah.
a
Johnson Jr.'s £310.
Oh,
Yeah, I have
That's insane.
I have them taking Paris Johnson because he's an absolute monster. Was my reason. Because again, protect fields, throw him out there. Like
he's just so big. Like he doesn't even actually need to run because it would just take you that long to circumnavigate him. You need to speak to Magellan before you get rid of him. Right. Okay, boys.
Can I just jump in
Oh,
for
you
a
go
wee
down.
second? I've just noticed Jackson's contract's been announced.
Oh, what we got? What we got? And you come in.
260 million, 185 guaranteed.
185 guaranteed.
Yeah. How much
Okay.
was Hurts guaranteed?
One,
yeah, 176 and some change, I think.
Okay, there you go. That's been the deciding factor. The Ravens were waiting for that card to fall, or that whatever it is you say fall dice.
Domino.
That's the one.
This is the type of smooth production value you get with the Gridiron Crew, ladies and gentlemen. We know our dice and our dominoes.
Cards falling.
Right. Okay, gents. It is time for the 10th overall pick. Somehow the Eagles are picking at bloody 10. Thank you very much, New Orleans. So the Eagles are on the clock. Where do we see the Eagles going with it? Studs, lead us off, mate. What do you think? Where do you see the Philadelphia Eagles going with this one?
I think
that is what I see happening.
I know. It's one of the ones. It's no fair. They were in the Super Bowl last year and they're picking 10th, and we need to wait till 31. So I think they're going to go Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith, nice.
I think there's again rumours that they've got some good had some good interactions with him. I think Daniel
like
Jeremiah, he listed 4 people. I think he's an ex-Eagles employee, and he listed 4 people that they potentially could go with. I think Nolan Smith was in there as one of them.
Big edge rusher out of Georgia.
Aye, the other 3 are escaping me just now as well. But again, it's adding another weight on that D line. The high sack total in the league last year.
That incredible D line. Okay, so Nolan Smith goes to Philadelphia. Dan, what about yourself, mate? Where do you see the Sons of Philadelphia going?
Hopefully in the bin.
Hopefully the C.
Nolan Smith was the obvious choice. But I think I'm going to say something that's going to absolutely break my heart. But I think if he's still on the board, the Eagles take Bijan here.
Yep, that's mine. I
think they take him.
It's mine. I think it's a brave pick. I think as much as I enjoy slagging you off, Zeke, running back, it's a brave pick taking a running back in the first. In general, taking a running back at top 10 he's got a lot of living up to do. But if you are going to put a running back anywhere in this league where they have got a recipe for success in front of them, it's in Philadelphia.
I think it'd be fun to watch if he lands in Philadelphia. Let's be brutally honest. So I think it'd be
he will rocket up fantasy draft boards if he lands in Philadelphia. Stu, to wrap up the top 10, where do you see Philadelphia going?
If they're not going to go for Nolan Smith and Lucas Van Ness is still on the board, he was the other guy I had them maybe going for, or maybe Miles Murphy was the other one. But like I agree with Studs. I think just the noise that they've been making about Nolan Smith and the fact that he kind of fits in with their scheme. And I know he's not the biggest edge rusher, but he's bloody fast and he plays really hard. So I think he's the guy. He fits the scheme. So I'm going to pick him.
Right, okay, that is it, gents. That is the top 10. So we are going to have a rapid-fire one to bring us towards the end of the pod this week. So it is the question of what about every other bugger? So we have went through the top 10, but none of us are in the top 10, and some of us are further away from it than others.
Some of us are not in it because we've been good.
Some of us are
traded all your picks away
of exceptionally excellent work from the front office, definitely. So we have got the Cowboys are drafting at 26, the Bengals at 28. Studs gets the 31st pick, which this year, for once, isn't a runners-up prize. And you have got my beloved Browns, who are picking at 74.
Hey,
So,
there's some good
gentlemen,
players down there.
what I am looking for, purely because I can't pick a name, is either a name and why or a positional group and why for each of your team. We are going to go in draft order. So, Dan, you are going to kick us off, mate. 26, Cowboys are on the clock.
Yep.
What player or position do you want to see them going for?
Being the Cowboys, I think the obvious choice is going to be on the line, because that's what we seem to do in the first round. Two names I've got written down are Darnell Wright and Steve Avila. I think those two are obvious. I think the other thing I'm there's a couple of things I'll just fire through quickly. So that's the obvious.
Yeah.
I think the other pick depends on what happens between 10 and 26. We need a tight end. If Kincaid is still there at 26, which is probably unlikely, I think we might go there. We do need a tight end. Him or Maya, but I think if Kincaid's at 26, I think he can't turn them down at 26. So you never know with the Jones what they're going to do. We never tend to trade up. We always tend to trade back. And again, that wouldn't surprise me if it happened. But if I stay up till stupid o'clock to watch this trading back, it'd be great. But here's one for you. It wouldn't surprise me with it being Jerry Jones to trade up. If round about, I say maybe somewhere between 16 and 20, if Bijan's still around, I think it might be aggressive and move up and take him.
Give him a bowl of cereal and watch him eat.
I don't think he will be there, but I think it would be Jerry being Jerry. This is the same guy that tried to go for Johnny Manziel when he had to be talked off a ledge by his brother. He could. I wouldn't be against him trading up to get Bijan, is what I'll say, but I don't think we will. I think it'll either be a lineman or a tight end.
Okay. Right, so lineman or a tight end is a likeliness with the hopes and dreams of trading up for somebody more Hollywood. Stu, your beloved Bengals are on the clock all the way down at 28, which, as you so quickly insist, is because you're actually a decent team these days. Where do you see the Bengals going, and why is it another wide receiver?
It's not a wide receiver. That's like the one position group I didn't even bother looking at. No, I think for us this year at 28, the online consensus, which is obviously fueled by fantasy football, they all have us picking like Jahmyr Gibbs or Meyer if he's still there, or Kincaid, who I don't think will be there. For me though, I think we go cornerback, and I think we go Emmanuel.
Nice.
He's not the biggest. Well, he's big in terms of he's tall. He's 6 foot, 6'3" or something like that, or 6'1" to 6'3", somewhere in there. But he's not the heaviest. However, he plays really, really hard, and he's one of those cornerbacks that likes to step up and kind of make tackles at the line. He's a multi-purpose guy like Mike Hilton, so it's like he fits in with our defensive scheme, and he looks really good.
I'm gonna jump in. Like I knew he was a bit smaller, but Forbes comes in at his combine. He was 6'1", so yeah, okay, 6'1".
Yeah,
166 pounds.
I know, dude. He plays so hard. And see his roots. Like, I don't know, man. I think I would take Forbes. Like I like him. I like everything I've seen, kind of thing from him. I think he's a good cornerback. So I'm going to go out there and say that's who I would take. Whether the Bengals do that or not, yeah, that's another matter entirely. Like I could see if one of the offensive tackles fell as well, we might go that way. But we just signed Orlando Brown. We already have like Lyle Collins is going to come back at some point this year. If Jonah Williams stops spitting the dummy and realizes he should probably just play right tackle, we'll be fine on the line. Like,
right.
I think he will. Yeah.
Left tackles get paid more. That's why he's the one to play right.
I know.
Right, okay, Studs, it's on to you. It is the punishment for winning yet another bit of jewellery. You are picking at the bottom of the first, which this year, because the Dolphins are dirty cheats, is pick number 31, not 32. Where are the Chiefs going?
Up the draft board. Chiefs are going to trade up.
Ooh.
And I think they're going to be aggressive and go for Zay Flowers.
To be fair, ladies and gentlemen, Studs has not shut up about Zay Flowers
Yeah, he's been
for
on and on and on and on and on.
a time. So this isn't completely in character.
Aye,
How
I
high
think
do you think you'll need to go to get him?
I reckon we need to get into the teens. So I reckon somewhere between 15 and 20, I reckon we need to go up to get him.
Maybe Pittsburgh, aim at the Steelers.
Aye.
Or maybe the Lions, actually, because the Steelers are unlikely to go wide receiver again.
The Lions, I could see being a trade partner to try and build up some capital for them. So if we don't do that, because I think the reason we do it, obviously, they made a lot of noise and made sure that they got Zay Flowers into a throwing session with Pat Mahomes and things like that to see how it worked out with them. So that's why I think we go there. If not, if we stay where we are, I think one of the obvious needs for us is edge again. Obviously, losing Frank Clark, I think we need to replace that. I would, if we stay where we are again, look Van Ness. If he dropped down that draft board, he would be a good pick, or Will McDonald, someone like that. But as I say, I think the noise is that we seem to be looking to be trading up for Zay Flowers.
Okay. Just what everybody wants to see. Pat Mahomes being given weapons. Okay, to wind us off, gentlemen, with the joy that is the Cleveland Browns drafting at 74. Our obvious area that we are going to target is edge. We need somebody to be on the other side of Miles. Your issue is edge is a huge position of need for everybody around the league. So who the hell will be available at 74? Ain't likely to be the most amazing of players. One that I have heard get mentioned quite a lot on the wire is Marvin Mims, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. We are definitely looking to add a third piece to our wide receiver room. Cooper is our out-and-out number one. We've got Moore and DPJ battling for 3. Davy Bell, wait and see. Didn't have a great year last year. It was his rookie season, though, and our quarterback play was less than stellar. So I can see us either going best available edge or Marvin Mims. Now, gentlemen, we are driving towards the end of tonight's show, and that can mean one thing and one thing only. It is time for our statistic of the week. Now, Stu, if you have not got something draft related for us, by the way, I'm going to be absolutely
draft related.
furious.
Yeah, no. It's draft related. So I was going to go with the just like a really kind of it's simple anyway. I'm going to go simple, short, and sweet. It's kind of easy to go with like who are the teams that have had the most first overall picks in history.
Don't, because I feel like that's possibly an attack aimed at me.
No, it's not. It's not at all. It was. It's actually the Colts and the Rams have had the most first overall. But what I actually wanted to do was go the other way. There's 3 teams, and I want you guys to try and guess. 3 teams have never, ever in their history had a first overall pick. Who are those 3 teams? And it's, the Bengals clearly are out because we all know we like a first overall pick.
Right now, I'm crap at this because my NFL history is rotten. So I'll come in first and I'll make a howler of it again, and you can laugh at me.
Just try and get one of them. Like,
my logic is going to go a team that's relatively new. So I'm going to, and I don't know how the compensate.
Somebody's phone is having a bad time.
Somebody's phone's getting dropped. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
The Ravens are indeed one of the picks.
Oh, yes, get it!
There you go.
Who's your dad? Right, okay, I'm all happy with myself. Right, on you go, Dan. Who are you in for?
I'm going to go just because they're so successful. I'm going to say Cowboys. I don't know. My history's terrible, but
the Cowboys have had a first overall pick. Studs.
Studs has had Studs' traditional technical malfunction. And I think the noise that we all heard a couple of minutes ago was Studs dropping whatever device it is he's using to dial in for us, folks.
I'm back.
Oh, no, he's back. Right,
he's just not moving.
Well, I know it's not the Chiefs because the Chiefs picked Eric Fisher a good few years ago. So
that was a bad first overall pick.
I don't know. It's Super Bowl champion Eric Fisher. Let's remember.
Oh, dear one.
Who go?
One of them's a division rival of you.
Ooh. Clues.
Oh, we never get clues.
I know, but we're trying to wrap it up. So
We're a higher caliber of a crew member, Dan. That's what it is.
Go Raiders then.
no, it's not the Raiders. They've had first
Chargers.
overall pick. No, it's not them.
Stop naming teams.
It's the Broncos. And then the final team, I don't know if obviously I'm a Bengals fan, but also in baseball I like the Mariners. So I have a bit of a soft spot for Seattle. Not really so much the Seahawks, but the last team are indeed the Seattle Seahawks.
Really?
They've never once had first overall pick, which they were the one that kind of surprised me
That
because
surprises me.
Denver, I look at it and then go, they've been, they've had their successful spells and they've obviously had times when they've been bad, but they've clearly not
Never
been the worst. And they've never been the worst when they've been bad.
What actually happened was they had the first round pick, but they traded it out, so they never had to pick.
Yeah, exactly. Right, okay, that was a good one, Stu. Thank you very much, as always. Well, gentlemen, that is us at the end of tonight's pod. So thank you all very much. Dan, thank you much for rejoining us, mate. It was a pleasure to have you on again.
The Buckeyes make one last wee quick point before we go.
On you go, just because it's you.
Draft, I think lately on the draft, I expect the Cowboys to pick up Stetson Bennett.
Okay.
Just because he's called Stetson.
His name's Stetson.
Right, just for Stetson to be a cowboy.
Of course. Either him or Mac.
That's exactly the same as I expect the Browns to draft the tight end cunts for totally different reasons. Okay.
I'll catch you soon.
Thank you, mate. Stu, as always, the voice from Canada. Thank you very much for joining us, mate. And you get to enjoy the draft at a reasonable.
I know I get to actually kind of follow along with it and watch it, like whilst I'm doing some other housework and things like ironing. But it's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
Excellent. And Studs, our technical wizard, thank you so much again for joining us, mate, particularly that you were a late arrival into the show tonight. It's always appreciated and great to hear from you, mate. So thank you very much, Studs.
No hassles, mate. Hopefully everybody enjoys the drafts and get everything they want.
Absolutely. As Stu said earlier, it's NFL Christmas.
The Raiders, Broncos and Chargers, they can all do one. Everybody else gets it.
Excellent. Division rivalry. That's what we love here, ladies and gentlemen. Right, so with that, folks, thank you very much. As we say, the draft is looming. Now it ain't days away. It is hours. And then we get to have the joy of speculating on minicamp and on training camp. And before we know it, the dark time will be over and the season will be back with us. But until then, remember that the crew will get you through the rest of the off-season, and you can always get in touch with the crew at Irn Cru on Twitter. On Insta, we are grid_iron_crew. Help grow the community, help grow the channel. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, folks. And until next week, I have been Brian, and we will speak then.